Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome once again to this new episode of Select Tattoo Live. Today, I'm here with Tony. This is her first time in our show,
Yes.
and we have a special guest today that he's gonna talk about something that is really interesting for everybody in the tattoo community, which is laser tattoo removal. So I'm gonna let him introduce himself.
My name is Mike. I'm with Removery, the world's tattoo removal experts.
Yeah. So how long you guys have been working on, this field?
So Removery started in 2020, so 5 years.
Okay.
Next month will be our 5th anniversary. We currently have about 155 studios across the US, Canada, and Australia. We're here in DFW right now. We've got 6 studios in this greater area.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about you guys a few years ago. I know. Correct me if I'm wrong, because a friend of mine who's an artist told me that you guys also offer laser removal for artists too, right?
We do. It's a great way to get somebody in to kind of let them experience what it's like, so that if you're going to refer it to a client that they want to do a cover up with, they know exactly what they're talking about. Kind of like you don't necessarily go to people that don't have tattoos to get your first tattoo.
Exactly. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Sonny, I know that she had done some laser sessions before. So, tell me how was that first time? Were you scared about it?
I was kind of scared. It was just on my forearm right here, so it's not really too bad of a spot, but I didn't think it was gonna hurt as bad as it did. Like the first time I did it, like, ooh, this is not fun.
The feeling's pretty unique because your nostril piercings hurt way different than a tattoo does.
Yeah.
And your knee ditch hurts way different than your forearm does to get tattooed. So it's a different feeling. The biggest difference is it's so fast.
Yeah,
for sure.
It is so fast. Honestly, like this was done in like maybe like 10, 15 minutes. Like it wasn't, it's pretty bad, but it's very quick. It doesn't take.
And the advantage is like, yeah, it's a little bit of pain for whatever 5 minutes, but then you can cover that ugly tattoo with something completely beautiful.
Yeah, the results is.
It's a lot better than just try. Me as an artist, I can tell that it's just 200% times better than just trying to do a traditional cover up.
Yeah.
I got into tattoo removal because in the 90s, I got tattooed. I was 16, 17, 18 years old. And as I was growing up and growing into a man, I realized that these tattoos don't represent me anymore. And I wasn't comfortable wearing shorts. I just didn't like the tattoos on me anymore.
Okay.
And the options to cover from my shin to my ankle, from my calf, like my knee ditch to my ankle, was dark. It was heavy.
Yeah.
You're really limited to what you can do. And I literally started a business so that I could get my own tattoos removed.
That was awesome.
Back in 2012. So I've been doing this for a really long time because I knew what it was like to wake up and not love who I was based on how I looked. And the cover-ups that I have now have zero compromise to them. And I think today you should really get the tattoo you want, not the one that makes sense for a cover-up.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. Especially when you consider that only a couple sections of laser will make that old tattoo,
Much lighter.
light enough, a lot lighter. Tell us a little bit about how the technicalities of it, like, so for the people that don't know anything about, like, how often they can come back to the sessions for the laser, how you guys approach the healing, a little bit about that.
Yeah, quick primer is when you get tattooed, you're having ink put in the second layer of your skin, and the pigment particles that make up your tattoo are too big for the body to remove, so they live pretty much forever. What we do is use a pico wave laser. It's compressed light and sound, and it will fracture that pigment particle into smaller pieces. Those pieces can then be absorbed by the immune system and carried away. So we call it laser tattoo removal, but your body does all the heavy work.
Yeah.
So unlike being tattooed, it's non-invasive. There's no open wounds. You don't leave bandaged. The healing is significantly faster. It's a lot easier. And you're going to come back in about 6 to 12 weeks. And we need that time to happen because the body's fantastic at healing itself. It's just a little slow.
Yeah.
We both have facial hair. If we shaved this morning, we don't have beards tomorrow. That's what we need to happen. So the time between treatments is so that the body can process out that new pigment.
I actually noticed that some clients that had laser before, even after those 6 weeks, because sometimes for whatever reason they take maybe 2 months before they come back. But in between those 2 months, the tattoos just keep getting lighter and lighter and lighter.
Yeah, there will be an attrition moment where it just stops fading. and that's why we have them come back in. But sure, life happens. Sometimes, people go on vacations, or work gets really busy, or, there's kids sporting events. They can't make it right at the exact moment. It's okay if they come back in a couple weeks later as well. At the end of the day, we just want them to have great results. Absolutely. And then we are trying to give you guys the options to do tattoos that you really want. Clients who are coming in for fading for cover-ups are already in a position where they have a tattoo they don't love. Don't get another one just because it is the easiest cover-up. Spend a couple months, get a few treatments, 2, 3, 4 treatments, and then get the tattoo you really, really want. Don't compromise on it, because otherwise we're going to end up seeing you a second time.
Yeah. So I feel like a lot of people is scared and about, because they heard from other people that might have got laser before, maybe doing poorly, right? And they're scared about like blisters and being too painful and stuff. What's something that you can tell to these people that had a tattoo that they just want to get rid of, but they're scared of getting laser?
This is most commonly asked by people who don't know anybody that's been lasered. So it's really important for us to set expectations. A little bit of swelling, some redness, a little irritation, occasionally a blistering is going to happen. That's okay. That's part of the healing process. What we try to do is just encourage them to feel the process. We do use a cryo chiller throughout the entire treatment. That helps cool the skin, helps reduce a little bit of the swelling, makes it a little bit more comfortable for the treatment. But you don't know what you don't know. So at some point, we all sat in a chair and we all got tattooed, and that was a scary moment. And we got through it. The big difference now is that we all know somebody who's been tattooed. Very few of us know somebody hands-on who has had laser work done. So having that hands-on experience is very different. That's, again, why we treat so many tattoo artists, so that you all can help explain it to somebody in a more palatable way. So they're like, it's not a big, unknown, scary thing. When I started getting piercings and tattoos at 16 in the mid-90s, there wasn't a lot of references. I had to crack open a Yellow Pages in order to find a tattoo shop near me. And then luckily, I could get tattooed, that my mom paid for it. It was great. But none of my friends had tattoos. I was, I think, the second person in a high school of 2,000 people with a tattoo.
Okay.
Nowadays, everybody knows somebody with a tattoo. So you know that your ditch is going to be a little painful, but you can do it. You know that your elbow is not going to feel great, but you can do it.
You can do it, yeah.
And with laser, it's been around for about 35 years at this point, and the technology keeps getting better. The protocols we're refining. Right now, we've done 1.6 million treatments to more than 260,000 clients. We've got data, and we've got tons of experience. So we're making this way more comfortable and palatable for people to come in and go through the process. So that fear factor is kind of moving away a little bit, and it's just a matter of sitting down and doing it. The other selling point, as you mentioned, is it's fast. Most tattoos take 30 seconds to 3 minutes to laser, and that's it. You're in and out of the office in 15 minutes in most cases.
Yeah, what a good time to be a tattoo artist. Because, Tony, I just want you to imagine, because she has one leg that she just got a bunch of random tattoos, right? And then years later, she got a award-winning piece on the other leg.
Literally.
So now there is actually an option for people to get rid of them, and then do something cool. Imagine just 10 years ago where it was nobody was able to access to this laser technology.
It's so crazy how much it's.
So as far I wanted to ask you, because I know there certain colors are easier to get rid of, and certain colors are so hard. So it's realistic for somebody to think that this tattoo, for example, is going to be 100% gone?
Most tattoos on most people can be removed to the point where an average person wouldn't know at the distance we're apart, 3, 4, 6 feet away. There are some situations where there could be some resilient ink, or there could be some pre-existing scar tissue from the tattoo went in that would prevent 100% removal. Again, in most cases, 90, 95, 98% removal for the average person, you would never know. If you're in line at the concession stand here at 3 people back, wouldn't know that you had a tattoo removed. That's our goal. Our goal is to get it to the point where most strangers would never know.
Definitely.
Again, you want to be really nitpicky. Sure, there might be a little speck here, a little speck there, but it could also be, it could be a freckle for all we know.
Yeah, and it's I feel like it also depends on that who that person who did that the first tattoo to begin with. If they scar that area, even if you remove the ink, the scar is there, so there's going to be a little bit of texture there.
That's a really good point, because when we set expectations, we don't know what's under the ink. And occasionally, if a needle is dragged, if somebody's, barbed it, they've hit the bottom of their ink cap and it's created just a little bit of texture, the ink can often hide that. Especially with really big groupings for line work. sometimes that stuff will just rise right up. And when you remove the ink, the scar tissue remains, and people are kind of shocked by that. But that was there the entire time.
Yeah.
It was just hidden by the tattoo
ink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not common, but it does happen occasionally. And again, with the number of treatments that we're doing on scale, we see it a little bit more often, but we do try to set those expectations up front.
Absolutely. So what about costs? Like, can you tell me a little bit so people know what to expect when they're trying to get something removed?
Yeah, absolutely. Removery does pricing based on the size of the tattoo. We can group multiple tattoos together. We offer pay-as-you-go treatments for people that just need 1 or 2 treatments. We offer a 3-pack, which is great for tattoo artists who are seeking fading for cover-ups, as referrals, and somebody who's kind of moving forward. But if you no longer want your tattoo, we have an unlimited treatment plan. It's one price. It covers every treatment until all removable ink is gone.
Okay.
And it's a great option because we know that tattoos take, on average, about 8 to 12 treatments. Sometimes it's a few more, sometimes it's a few less, but there's not a money grab on the other side of this. So the client knows up front, hey, this is what I'm going to pay. I can continue on with this.
And they're going to get as much removal as they can.
And we offer monthly payments if somebody wants to break it up. That's always easy to do. The other really cool thing that we offer is you can be treated in any of our studios. So as a traveling tattoo artist, you could pop into any of our studios anywhere in the country and get a treatment. If you are in New York and you're moving around from borough to borough, we're everywhere. We're in Manhattan, we're in Brooklyn, we're in Staten Island, we're in Long Island. So you don't have to fly home if you relocate to a different city, which is pretty common as people grow and they go through this treatment process. If a job opportunity comes up, not a problem. Continue your treatments in the city that you move into.
That's awesome. What about darker skin complexion? How that works?
Yeah, it's a great question. With melanated skin, we are still able to remove the ink. There are some limitations with certain colors just due to how the lasers interact with the melanated skin. And we set those expectations up front. But as a tattoo artist, we also know that there's limitations to how you're tattooing them as well.
Yeah.
So we will, in most cases, be able to either remove the tattoo to where they're satisfied, or we can get it into a great position for you as an artist to go ahead and come back in and do the work that they really want. So we are able to treat all skin tones and all people.
Cool. And one last thing that they just pop up in my head. Aftercare.
Yeah.
How that works.
Aftercare is really simple. We just ask you to avoid things like the gym and swimming for 24 to 72 hours.
Almost like a tattoo aftercare, right?
Yeah, we just want you to avoid getting your body temperature to rise any higher than it currently is. But because it's not an open wound, you don't have that tattoo soggy sticking to your sheets at the end of the night, in the morning. You don't have,
unless you might have a blister, right?
which again, it's not common, but that can happen occasionally. They usually dissipate on their own. You don't have that scaling flakiness that happens. It doesn't feel like fire is coming out of your shower when you hop into it. It's a really easy thing to do. People come in before they go to work. They pop in for their lunch breaks, on their way home, before they meet their friends, for dinner or something like that. I would rather heal laser work than I would tattooing any day of the week.
Cool.
Any day. And I've had a lot of laser work, and I'm going through a full sleeve right now of getting tattooed, and I dread the aftercare for.
Can people take any time of like Tylenol and stuff before they get the treatment?
It's not recommended. It's not needed.
Okay.
It happens so fast. By the time the laser is done, your mind is like, "Oh, I got through it."
And what about numbing creams and stuff?
Doesn't work.
Okay.
It's a topical.
It's a different kind of pain. It's more inside, right?
It's the pigment fracturing. That's what you're feeling. So on the surface level, on the epidermis, the numbing cream's not going to do a whole lot.
Okay.
And again, for you to apply the numbing cream 1 or 2 hours ahead of time, and then we'll clean it down for 30 seconds of laser. Anybody can do 30 seconds of anything. Put your mind to it. I have a couple questions for you.
Yeah, for sure.
As a tattoo artist, are you getting people now, like both of you, who are kind of running out of room or looking at the second version of yourself that you're like, hey, I have some friends that are doing amazing work, and all I have left is like the back of my upper thigh, and nobody's ever going to see that. Are you rethinking about getting tattooed now that you know that laser is readily available?
I don't regret any tattoo, at least for now, just because I make sure that the first one that I got was technically well done. If it was terrible, I would definitely cover it. So I feel like even if they don't represent me anymore because I do this for a living, I'm like, this is technically well done, so I can live with it, but I definitely understand somebody who doesn't do tattoos. They don't care much about the technical side of it, and so they might just want to switch. Because to me, a script tattoo, for example, something that I don't do, that I don't really like, but still it's a tattoo that I can wear because I understand where they come from. You know, I have that knowledge and I can justify to have it in my body. Basically, that's the way that I look at it. But I definitely understand like clients, somebody who got tattooed when they were 18 or something.
Yeah, me.
Like,
No, like I definitely feel like I could see myself doing like a whole, I mean, I have a whole arm and a whole leg of like, don't know kind of what to do with it. So
yeah,
I definitely could see myself doing a bunch of laser.
and I'm not running. I still have a whole leg, so
Yeah,
maybe
you're
if
not
I
running
start
out.
running
I'm
out of
running out of
space,
But I think like your leg sleeve that's patched together.
Yeah.
I know there's stories between all of those.
No, they definitely are.
And I want to be very clear. A lot of people get tattoos removed not because they were regretful or they were not done technically well. They've just decided that tattoo doesn't jive with them.
Kind of just because I was thinking like, what, I'm gonna be 40 and still looking at all this, and like some of it's so random, you know. But like you said, they all do have a story, but it's just so random, you know. Exactly like you said, if I don't vibe with it anymore, like, you know, no, I could definitely see in the laser.
Do you think, based on your leg sleeve and the way it is, you would ever just blast overs?
I've thought about it. We've thought about a lot of possibilities to do over it. I've thought about that before. I kind of like it, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of weird, but kind of cool.
I've treated a lot of clients, and we have a lot of them that come in situations like yours where one limb looks nothing like the other limb, and it's always that like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that this was a possibility when I did this, and I need them to match. Or like you've got one untattooed leg, they'll come in and be like, hey, I got this done 20 years ago. I was 22 years old. I'm in my mid 40s. I love my career. I'm at a point where I can afford the work that I want. And now my new sleeve doesn't match my old sleeve.
Yeah.
And they'll start reworking those things again.
yeah, I can see that, especially when somebody get into this industry, they normally start getting all the typical tattoos, like the lion, you know, the rose, the clock, and
Pocket watches.
even if they're well done, maybe 20 years from now, when you see the type of stuff that we do nowadays, you want to get something, you know, that is more special and not so common.
My first tattoo is quintessential 90s. I have Old English script tattooed on me. And like you, it means so much to me.
Yeah.
And it's still held up very well. It's 30 years old now. And I obviously don't regret it. I'm going to keep it forever. But it's next to a script that it was done by a significantly better artist who specializes in script that is mind-bogglingly good. And I just look at them like they're not the same, but for me, it matters. I don't care about the aesthetic in that sense. Like I don't need them to matchy.
Exactly.
But I have the options. But the script that's on my shin is over laser work because I didn't like the original tattoo. So I was able to get the script, which requires negative space in order to breathe and to work, to actually come through with that.
Yeah, it's just awesome to have the option. Because one of those things that when I was growing up, everybody was telling me about tattoos is like, oh, they're permanent. That was the big thing, you know? And well, they're permanent if you want to.
I think the other thing is like, tattoos don't have to have meanings. Sometimes they just look cool. I've been tattooed in places that I wanted to feel more confident about my body.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's like a bonding moment with a friend or a way to commemorate a moment in your life or to, you know, somebody that might have passed. And, you know, a sad story is I've done a lot of laser work on guys that have come back from war and they've lost one of their brothers, and they'll get, you know, a memorial piece over their chest. And 5 years later, they want it removed. And people are like, why would you remove that? And at the end of the day, like, guys don't always deal with emotions very well. So they'll get a tattoo to physically feel what it's like to go through something because they can't process the emotions.
Yeah.
And 5 years later, their grieving has ended. And now they're brushing their teeth and they're like, dude, I love you. I just can't see you on my chest anymore.
Yeah.
Like, so I've done a lot of emotional work like that with people. And that's, you know, something that we're trying to help people understand that, like, it's not always an ex's name or a wedding date that you're getting removed. Sometimes there's trauma underneath of this.
Yeah.
And there's a really good opportunity to move on from that and kind of live your best life. And again, whether it's remove or fade for a cover up or kind of move forward with your life, it's a really good opportunity for that and to feel confident with who you are. It's an option that didn't exist the way it did, you know, 20 years ago. You weren't doing this. And like you said, I've been tattooed for 30. So I've gone through that phase of my life where, these tattoos just don't look good anymore. I had a guy tattooed on my leg with 2 biceps. Like, the artist messed it up.
Oh my God.
It's gone. you'll never see it. Like, we'll talk about it, you'll never see a photo of it. But that trauma thing is real. And one of the things I really love about working at Removery is we have a program called Ink Initiative. So we offer no-cost removal for formerly incarcerated, ex-gang members, survivors of human trafficking and domestic violence, and hate and racist tattoos. Okay. These are ways that, you know, people are physically reminded of their past life, and we can do that at no cost for them. We have an application on our website, put some information in, and we approve a bunch of people every year. It's a fantastic opportunity. One of the other really amazing things that Removery offers that I love is if you've gone through cancer and had radiation treatment, they have to tattoo usually a series of dots on your body so that they can align the machine and dose you with radiation every single time that you go in. So for breast cancer radiation treatments, it's anywhere from 1 to 5 across the chest. And when you're done and you've beaten cancer, you're left with these reminders physically in the mirror or when you're wearing clothing and you're
exposed. You gotta look at it every day, yeah.
And it's a heavy thing because cancer doesn't just affect that person, it's the whole family and everything else. So we do those for free as well year round, not just in October. I'm super excited that we've been able to continue doing that as well.
Now that you mentioned the like ex-gang members and stuff, right? Will you say that the worse the quality of the ink that they use on the tattoo, the easier it gets removed, or no?
That's a great question because I don't know.
Okay.
And that's because tattoo ink is still one of the very few things in tattooing that is closely guarded. So I can't say that one brand or another is better or worse.
Okay.
I do know that when people tattoo themselves in prison, we know what that's made of more often than not, and it typically responds pretty well, but also they're hand poke tattoos. So it's going to go one of two ways. Either they stayed up all night long and they poked the living, F out of it and it's saturated, or it's not.
Yeah.
You know, either it's really saturated or it's not. But the other problem with hand poke tattoos is there's no depth control.
Yeah.
So, it's a variable.
It's not consistent. Yeah. Okay.
It's a big variable, and again, depending on where we're talking in the country or other countries that people have been tattooed, specifically like with gang tattoos, they usually have a crew of artists that are part of them that will tattoo those, those members as well. So they tend to be pretty high quality tattoos a lot of the times.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But, it's also...
I've seen some pretty good, well done prison tattoos.
Absolutely.
I mean, well done for being done in prison. Yes.
Yeah.
When you know how they made them, you're like, wow, how they achieved.
It's crazy. Honestly, it's crazy how they do that. And
yeah. All right.
Yeah. It's a lost art. I was fortunate enough that I got a traditional Thai tattoo when I visited Thailand, the bamboo style. And the gentleman who opened the shop, I got tattooed at a real tattoo shop, not a sock yank tattoo. And I was always a little nervous because it's another country. And when I walked in, I was like, oh, you guys have all eternal ink and everything is in like, autoclave bags. And I felt really good about it. But we were talking and he said he moved to Long Beach and tattooed in Long Beach for like 10 years. His English was great. And when he came back to Thailand with a bunch of money and opened up his tattoo shop, his brother wanted to tattoo. But his brother specializes in the traditional Thai style. And he goes, none of the kids want to do it. They all want to do machine work. So, well, how does that tradition get passed on? He goes, prison. He goes, there's a lot of people in prison and they're tattooing themselves. So the Thai style translates really well. So they're able to tattoo the tourists because most of the, Thai people are not getting that traditional bamboo style. Whereas Tabori is still very much a thing in Japan. That style tattoo. Yeah. A lot of Japanese people are still getting traditional Tabori. And obviously here in America, there's fantastic Tabori tattoo artists that are traveling, both Japanese immigrants or Americans that they've trained as well.
Yeah. There you go.
Can you explain how tattoo removal feels for those who don't know?
Well, the way that I always explain it is it feels like you're being snapped with a rubber band that's like hot on fire. That's my best.
That's accurate
description of it. Yeah.
What does it feel like an hour later?
An hour later, it's burning like you have like the worst sunburn ever. It feels like you just have a sunburn and like you just know like you can't itch it or touch it, and it's just burning. It's burning. Yeah.
And then by the next day
by the next day it's fine. You're chilling. Amazing. But that first hour though, no. But after that it's fine. It's really fine even like towards the end of the day. It doesn't last very long.
She just got her whole back done.
Tattooed.
So if your whole back it's in a scale of 1 to 10, if your whole back is like 10,
20.
Okay, let's say that's a 10. Let's pretend that that's a 10, right?
Getting
a small tattoo removed, where would you put it?
It would probably be Like during the actual laser,
the whole
after?
process, because
The whole
on your back
process.
you probably have fever, you couldn't sleep.
Yeah, afterwards, yeah.
So
yeah,
just consider the whole experience.
the whole experience. Okay, maybe like at the most painful, like maybe a 6, but like probably a 4. I don't know though. Maybe let's say like a 6.
Did you have to do the whole like wrap a spatula in saran wrap and put lotion on it and kind of
Oh
get
yeah,
the itchy
I've been
spot?
struggling
For the laser?
No, for the back.
For the back.
back too.
I've been trying to just like leave it alone and not like scratch it or anything. So
Yeah, we put the plastic, the second skin and stuff.
yeah, that.
And
that
she
helps
took
a
it
lot.
off 1 or 2 days ago,
Yeah, 2 days ago.
and
Yeah.
just now it's just breathing.
And so Saniderm, Second Skin, Recovery, those brands, we don't need to use them for laser because there's no open wounds.
Yeah,
We get those
okay.
questions a lot. So what made you decide to start tattoo removal on your forearm though?
Well, these ones I did them myself, and I kind of just thought like they just were never like executed very well. You know, no, they just didn't turn out how I wanted them to. And then yeah, I was just like, we'll just take them off.
And we were just talking what options we had with her forearm to maybe do something.
Yeah.
And they were just in the middle, you know.
But this is definitely light enough now that like they can
Now we can extend that tattoo on the
Yeah.
top and just create like some kind of background for that.
What have your coworkers and like friends and family said to you about removing just that piece of your forearm?
I know a lot of people are like saying they're like, oh, when are you gonna do the rest of it? Like, but yeah, probably just that, or also a lot of people will point it out before they even point out like this big like.
It's funny that they
They'll point
ask her
out that.
because when she's working at a shop, people ask her like, "What's that? Is that like white ink or something?"
Yeah, they ask if it's like the gray tattoo or like brown or whatever, and I'm like, no, it's laser.
Are you the guinea pig in like your social circle getting laser? You're the first one?
Probably, yeah, I would say that, yeah.
And you still recommend it though if somebody's like, no.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a good idea. I mean, this was only like 2 sessions, and you know, if I did, I mean, I could do one more, but we could cover like this, you know,
Easy.
like. But yeah, I mean, I definitely recommend it when we have like clients asking about it. Like I'll tell them, like I think it's a great idea, and the pain. I mean, like you said, it only takes about like 3 minutes. Like so, it's like after that, you're done.
Yeah.
If I can sit for 25 hours for my back, y'all can sit for 10, not even 10 minutes for this tattoo.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again for joining us.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna leave all the information in the description of this video. And if you guys have any questions, please hit our friends at Removery and get your tattoos lined up
Heck
or
yeah.
remove, and we can cover it here at Select Tattoo Studio. So see you guys on the next episode. Bye.
Peace.